From the studios of WWAY, it's the CB-McGrath Show. The CB-McGrath Show is brought to you by your Carolina Ford dealers, Papa John's, AARP, Reed's Jewelers, Molly Maid, and Harris Teeter. And now, here's your host, Mike Vaccaro.
Well, good morning. Welcome, everybody. Mike Vaccaro here with the coach, CB-McGrath. After a week off last week, we have a lot to get to here, Coach. We're going to try to recap 5 games for UNCW. A lot of basketball here with the conference season well underway right now. So let's get to it. Let's start talking about Drexel. I know to jog your memory a little bit, but Drexel, before you went on the road for 3 straight, at home, wrapping up a homestand in conference play, the Dragons came into town, and this was a win for UNCW in the conference, and really a game where offensively, certainly things fell together for you guys as you had a season-high shooting percentage and a lot of good offense in this win against the Dragons.
Yeah, we were due for some shots to fall. I remember that much, and we're due again, I think, for some shots to fall. But the Drexel game, it was back and forth, obviously up and down the court, exciting basketball game, and luckily we just made more shots than they did. We didn't get a whole lot of stops, and before we get on the road for that road trip. But we've been working on defense a lot, and I told the guys last night, even after the loss last night, we're a better team than the team that beat Drexel. The 2 weeks of work that we've put in, we're a better team now than we were back 2 weeks ago. So I'm proud of that, and I hope they feel like that, though, and that's the main thing.
Yeah, it's been some good basketball here recently for UNCW. As you said, kind of started with Drexel, but a better team since then. But let's look at those highlights again. This is a while ago back in Trask Coliseum before the Seahawks hit the road. It's the Seahawks and the Dragons from Drexel. Here is our Harris Teeter highlights from that game. Lot to like for Seahawk fans there. That one on January 2nd back in Trask Coliseum. 107-87 the final score. The Seahawks out-rebound the Dragons here. Again, Coach, the game before against Delaware, you guys struggled to knock down shots. You had the good looks, didn't hit them, but here you kind of made up with it. 59%, a season-high shooting, and a lot of big performances from your kids.
Yeah, we obviously shot the ball well, and you see the rebounding totals too. We dominated the boards, and Drexel's a good rebounding team.
Yeah.
So every game we play, we know rebounding is very important to us, and that was especially important because of Drexel's ability to rebound themselves. But yeah, shooting 59% is terrific. You also saw there that Drexel shot 52%, and you know, when we went on the road, the other team shot pretty good. We'll see that in a little bit, and so that's when we went back to basics on defense last week, and I thought it really helped us these last 2 games.
Yeah, so again, a win there against Drexel before the Seahawks went on the road for 3 straight. No highlights of the northern swing against Towson and Delaware. We'll show you, though, the final score, some statistics from those games as well. As we head to the break here, on the other side, we'll talk about the games coming back. Elon and Northeastern, a couple of overtime thrillers this past week for UNCW. Again, after those games at Towson and then at Delaware as well. Stay with us. Break here. Again, highlights of Elon on the way back. Stay with us. Well, once again, the northern swing for UNCW, Towson and Delaware. They continued on the road Thursday at Elon, and as you said, Coach, you had some interesting practices here. No basketballs for your kids, no offense. Concentrate on the defense, and certainly you saw a difference against the Phoenix on Thursday night on the road.
Yeah, we did a good job. You know, obviously Elon shoots a lot of 3-pointers, and that's what their whole offense is set up to do. And we really felt like we had to get out there defensively to back them off the line. They still attempted 43s. You know, you can't stop people from shooting. You just got to hope that you can test it well enough that they miss a fair amount of them. And I thought we did that. We did not shoot it very well, and a lot of times you go on the road and you don't shoot it very well. You got to depend on your defense, and we did, and ended up getting the win in overtime.
Yeah, you go to Alumni Gym the last time there, as they're moving to a new facility next season. But you know, the smaller gym, and maybe it helped out somebody like Jalen Forens. He was red hot, especially from the outside here. 5 threes in this game to lead the charge.
Yeah, and it carried over last night too. He's feeling pretty good. Obviously, his shot's feeling good. He's playing well, and we're really happy for Jalen. But you know, I think it obviously comes down to getting defensive stops, and they had to get shots on their own. Like you said, those 3 practices, I didn't allow them to be on offense. They all only had to play defense, so I had to get out there a little bit. Some of the assistants, I even had my son out there running some drills. He's not that tough to guard, but at least he can run the drill and not let those guys touch the basketball.
There you go. Well, again, it paid off. Thursday night against Elon, the Seahawks in overtime, a thriller here. Take out the preseason number 3 team, the Phoenix. Let's take a look at our Reed's Jewelers highlights. So the Seahawks get the win in overtime, 80-78. Marcus Bryan, the difference-making points in that overtime period. Again, the Seahawks out-rebound opponent. Coach, 12 steals, a season high there. Half of those by Ty Taylor. So again, he used that length, a lot of deflections, a lot of steals. Big game for him.
Yeah, he got back-to-back steals, I think, too. The couple times I threw right to him, he was active, did a nice job. You know, obviously we've got the rebounding total. I like that, like I said before. And Marcus Bryan, he didn't make a field goal at Delaware, and his first field goal that he made was the difference in the game at the last 2 points there. So happy for Marcus. And Devontae was cramping up, and so Devontae wasn't in the game. Normally that's the spot that he fills on that play that Jordan comes off trying to attack, and Jordan usually makes the right play. He dumped off to Marcus, and Marcus made a tough shot at the basket.
And you look at some numbers here. Kaycock, 14 points, 17 rebounds. Bryan, just those 2 points, but did have 11 rebounds. And a double-double for Tally, 14 points, 10 assists. Didn't shoot it great, but again, able to distribute the ball. And these guys all play, you know, 35-plus minutes as well. So an exciting game, a big win on the road for UNCW against one of the preseason favorites in this league, Elon, in overtime, 80-78, the final score. Well, we'll take another break here. When we get back, it's another overtime thriller last night inside Trask Coliseum. And we'll have those highlights coming up next. Well, UNCW in town last night. The Seahawks taking on Northeastern in Trask Coliseum. Coming off the road win as well, Coach, and you said that you saw a little difference in your kids getting ready for the Huskies in practice leading into it.
Yeah, you know, I said all along they've been great energy and everything in practice the whole season, win or lose. But you know, they had a little more confidence going into the Northeastern game, knowing it was going to be at home, knowing that the students were back, knowing we're going to have a great crowd. It's going to be a great atmosphere and a fun night to play a basketball game.
And a tough opponent here. They've got some good players. Their guard, Vaza Pushica. This is a guy that you kind of certainly looked at defensively and what you could do to kind of disrupt him a little bit.
Yeah, he's really good. He has total command of his game, total command of the team, knowing exactly where his teammates are at all times, and sometimes that makes it difficult when the point guard, you really can't speed them up. You know, you got to try and get these other guys out of their normal positions so they're shooting different shots that they don't practice every day. And we tried a bunch of different things. You know, I don't think anything worked as well as we wanted it to, but I do think that we slowed them down at times in order to get back into the game.
Yeah, they were up 10. The Huskies were the Seahawks come back, sent it to an extra period, a wild finish here from Trask Coliseum. Let's take a look now at our AARP highlights. So a thriller in Trask doesn't go the way for UNCW. They fall 81-77, the final score. They out-rebound the Huskies 36-33 here, and some really good individual performances. Coach, 24, a career high for Jalen Fornes in this game. He was 10 of 13 from the field, 4 threes in this game after he had 5 against Elon. 15 points for Kaycock, 17 for Talley, but in the end, some foul trouble certainly hurt you guys. Talley wasn't in there because he fouled out before overtime period, but still to get it to overtime was a tremendous effort for you guys.
Yeah, I mean, we're down 10 with about 3.5 minutes to go in the game and come all the way back, and Jordan fouled out with about 2 minutes to go. So we played the last 2 minutes of regulation, I think, and all of overtime without Jordan, and obviously he was in a lot of those highlights, so we missed his productivity out there. And then Marcus Bryan, that last shot that we showed was the last shot we made in overtime until late. And then Marcus fouled out the next possession down there on defense. So playing without 2 of our starters for the last 3 minutes overtime really slowed us down, and we didn't get the stops that we needed to. And they made a couple threes right at the end of the shot clock that were sort of daggers.
Yeah, so a tough setback for the Seahawks, but the exciting game in Trask Coliseum nonetheless. We'll take another break. More to come after this. Time for this week's Play of the Week, and an unusual kind of play, if you will, but an excited crowd nonetheless as we go back to yesterday's game with Northeastern for our Play of the Week. Let's take a look. You may never hear Trask that quiet and that loud with a free throw, but the third of 3 straight with 0.4 seconds left after Taylor was fouled, attempting a 3. That sends the game in overtime, just ice in his veins, knocking down those 3. And this third one after a timeout was called, trying to ice him. A great job there for Ty Taylor again to send that to the extra period. Well, time now for the Molly Maid Glass Cleaner of the Week this week, and as typically it is, Devontae Kaycock. Why not? Very good week for him. Averaged 12 rebounds, 4.5 on the offensive end, 7.5 on the defensive end. Coach, he's leading the country in average rebounds, but also in total rebounds, 232, and just that high motor that tries to get every rebound out there.
Yeah, he's got to be leading the nation in rebounds per minute, too.
Yeah.
Because I haven't had him out there as much as I want him to be due to foul trouble and some other circumstances. But hey, that is what it is. And he's done a great job rebounding for us, and I hope it continues. And obviously, Ty Taylor making all 3 free throws. That's really hard to do. No matter if you've made your last 10, you've had 50 points in the game, but he hadn't even scored the whole game. He goes and makes all 3 free throws. So great job by Ty.
Yeah, great job by Ty. Great job by Kaycock as well. The Molly Maid Glass Cleaner of the Week. As for this week's Carolina Ford Player of the Week, really good numbers for this guy, the sophomore Jalen Fornes. Take a look at this. Averaged 22 points, shooting 63%, 75% from 3. He knocked down 9 in the 2 games combined, and also averaged 6 rebounds, a career high 8 rebounds. So this is a guy that we know he's got this type of potential, Coach, and now he's kind of getting things going and starting to feel it right now for you.
Yeah, and he's gaining confidence from that, and so we really want Jalen to keep going forward. We know we can get more out of him. We expect more, and he expects more of himself. He's had a great week, and looking forward to building on that.
So this week's Carolina Ford Player of the Week, it is the sophomore Jalen Fornes. We'll take our final break. On the other side, we'll take a look at the conference standings and a look ahead 2 games for UNCW, including the rematch coming up from the title game a year ago. Stay with us. Back in just a moment. 6 games in, and interesting early on. William & Mary preseason number 8 right now stands atop the conference standings 5-1, but they did lose for the first time yesterday. 4 teams at 4-2. Towson and Charleston at 3-3. They were picked 1-2 in the preseason. UNCW 2-4, Drexel 1-5, and Madison still winless 0-6 in the conference. So interesting 6 games in. We take a look this week for UNCW, split as they'll be on the road on Thursday, at home on Saturday. But Thursday it's a matchup with Charleston, and that'll be at 7 o'clock, and then Saturday at home against Towson. So again, that's Thursday at Charleston, Saturday against Towson. It'll be the first meeting with the Cougars, Coach, as you know, very defensive-minded team.
Yeah, and there have been some great battles over the last couple of years with Charleston, UNCW, and a lot of the players know each other, and so we'll see how it all goes. We're looking forward to getting down there and playing a great game.
Yeah, so Charleston, for them, coming off a setback to Elon yesterday, very interesting matchup here. Charleston 3-3, UNCW 2-4. That is Thursday, 7 o'clock. We'll have that at 6:45 on the Seahawk Digital Network. For CB McGrath and our entire crew, thanks for joining us here. We'll see you next week for another edition of the CB McGrath TV show.
The CB McGrath Show is brought to you by your Carolina Ford dealers, Papa John's, AARP, Reed's Jewelers, Molly Maid, and Harris Teeter.